right, when school opens for most students in our state next week, many parents are going to worry about how safe their school is. Perry Hall High School students lived through the horror of a school shooting some 2 years ago. When a shooting happens, though, we wonder what goes through a child's mind that turns them into a potential killer. We aren't the only ones wondering. The In Focus team learned it's a growing field of research.
Since the 1999 Columbine attack, there have been 20 confirmed shootings on school and university campuses. Now, motivation for these facts may vary, but in some instances where research is done, a number of the killers and would-be attackers have cited an obsession with the murders carried out by Dylan Klebold and Eric Harris.
In some cases, the attacks were thwarted by police before being carried out. Just 3 months ago in Minnesota, 17-year-old John David Ledoux's planned assault that included murdering his family and as many people at school as possible was stopped when a witness saw him making frequent trips to a storage unit. Here's an excerpt of his interview with police.
My plans were to enter and throw Molotov cocktails and pipe bombs and destroy everyone, and then when the SWAT comes, I would destroy them myself.
Ledoux also told investigators he was obsessed with Columbine. It's the same story two Tennessee teens told police following their arrests on plans for a mass shooting at their high school. Carried out 15 years ago, the school shooting at Columbine High left 12 dead and 20 injured. It's a case analyzed still today, and investigators say it's understandable when you consider the profiles of mass shooters that include Adam Lanza, T.J. Lane, and the Columbia Mall shooter, Darren Aguilar, all cited Columbine as a driving force to their attacks.
They're looking for somebody to emulate.
Dr. Elias Shaya is the chief of psychiatry at MedStar Good Samaritan Hospital.
They're very vulnerable because of their disease, because of the impairment in their brain, the inability to understand the consequences of certain decisions, the distortion in the perception of their surroundings, their society, their relationships.
That perception of notoriety, even if for a brief moment, Dr. Shaya says, is often perpetuated by round-the-clock media coverage by local and national news outlets.
Clearly, the media coverage that it gets puts it in the forefront of everybody's thoughts, and then maybe those of us who are impressionable, who may be struggling with a severe psychiatric illness, then makes it very accessible to them, and they fall into that trap.
While mental illness is studied around the world, Dr. Shaya reminds us mass shooters in a school or public setting make up a small percentage of cases with a no one-size-fits-all answer available.
I like a statement that says that ignorance is the driver of discovery. The first thing we should do is say that we don't know and acknowledge that we don't know and understand that our knowledge about this is very limited, start from a blank slate. Many of us are attempting to find answers, and human nature always seeks simpler, easier, accessible answers. And the greatest risk there is sometimes when we don't have the answer, we can't resist the temptation to just make them up.
Another challenge, Dr. Shaya says, is on the legal front. In some instances, professional help isn't required, even though it may be needed, and even if the parent or guardian is aware. Also, Dr. Shaya says once patients reach certain ages, they can then check themselves into or out of services. This is an area he contends could see changes as research progresses.